My dad's the most charming man in the world. He is also a Gemini. He thought that I could go to Harvard, be an astronaut, be the president of the world. He thought I could be anything I wanted to be.
Okay, award-winning comedian Alia Rasul delves into family legacy and cultural preservation in this new documentary-type short film, 15 Ways My Dad Almost Died, which is premiering tomorrow at the Real Asian International Film Festival at the TIFF Lightbox. The movie is directed by Surya Malu, and Surya and Alia joins us live this morning. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
This is so cool. I love that, I mean, you're part of the Tita Collective, and I love that you use comedy to bring us into this film about your father. And talk about your dad and why you decided you wanted to know his history and really preserve that.
Well, I mean, it started off, well, first of all, my dad's a very quirky person. And so to begin with, he was really great to mine for like comedy in general. And it just sort of like happened by accident that we stumbled upon this history, because for him, it was a funny story. It's like, look at this traumatic thing that I survived. Ha 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 ha.
Right.
And then, but I was like, wait a minute, let's hold back, and then got him to tell us a little bit more. And so that's when all that stuff about Holo came out.
Right. And, and Surya, for people who don't know, Holo, something happened there. It was really bad. It's not known too much by a lot of people because it wasn't, it was kind of blocked from the media. So what was your challenge as a filmmaker to kind of tell this story in a format where you didn't have too much kind of footage to go back to?
Yeah, there are very few survivors. It was under a media blackout, and to be honest, it's such a big story, but it's also so singular to Amarusi, her father, and so I wanted it to still have the language of Alia's comedy and his quirky nature. We went through choices of animation and her doing her straight-up stand-up, so it fluctuates between verite footage of her and her dad cutting to memories that are animated to give it life through his eyes. And I thought that was the best way to give back his agency that he lost in that experience.
Wow, that's very powerful. You know, Remembrance Day just passed, and we had a group of students from Crestwood Preparatory College. They do something called an oral history project where they speak to veterans and use the veterans' voices to tell their story. I think it's unique that you're facilitating it with your dad. Maybe you can go into, I mean, some of the 15 ways that he almost died. Were you surprised? Did you learn a lot?
Yeah. I think he basically wanted to just give me any stories to mine for comedy, and then I had to point out to him. I was like, you know, every single story that you just gave me was a near-death experience.
Wow.
And then he'd be like, oh yeah, that's true. I guess my life's kind of rough. You know, so that, for me, that's surprising, just like how sometimes our parents can be so resilient that they don't even know things are happening to them. They just move on with their lives and then keep going. And so, and I'm in a position to be able to reflect. And I love that you said like oral history. I think for us, like stand-up also for me is like kind of a new way of oral tradition, and him sharing his story is for it, like he survived 15 ways for that story to get to me. And now I have the privilege to be able to reflect it. And then, you know, Surya and I talked about this, like the film essentially is a time capsule of his story so that, you know, it doesn't get erased.
Yeah, no, that is so important. And Surya, what are you hoping people will take away when they watch your film tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's really ask your parents about their lives. Keep that tradition of oration alive, and also, more importantly, remember, like, it's 50 years since the Holo siege, and it's still not rebuilt. I think it's hopefully a conversation that starts remembering that, you know, there are people who lost their lives and also their community and the place that they called home. So if we can at least bring that back into the forefront of the conversation.
Yeah, let us not forget, right? Because when these people pass on, the stories kind of go with them unless we somehow capture them.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone gets a chance to see the 15 Ways My Dad Almost Died. Alia, Surya, thanks so much for joining us this morning, and good luck with the screening tomorrow.
Thanks so much.